Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, there's people joining. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Oh, yes. And that is the adorable Raffi.
Yes.
Oh, it's like he's like, I heard my name.
I know.
Raffi. Hi.
Yes.
Hi, buddy. Yes, we are live. Hello to everybody. We've got Michelle Kinney here and Tara Setmayer. If y'all can tell us from where you're joining, you guys know that I love this. I always love to ask people from where they are joining us today because I get such a kick out of seeing how big our Substack community is. We are from all corners of the world, and it just makes me very happy.
Okay. Binghamton. All right.
It's very cool.
Yeah. I love
very
it.
happy.
I hope there's some Jersey folks there in the building. I have my favorite Jersey mug today with me. Can you read what it says?
Bitch, please, I'm from Jersey.
That's right.
I've been doing a deep dive into Jersey stuff, courtesy of parking lot lawyer Alina Haba.
Oh my God.
And her latest drama.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah,
I dragged
right
her
there from Jersey.
Yes,
that's somebody from Jersey right there. So hi everybody. It is Katie Phang here with Michelle Kinney and Tara Setmayer, and they are in and of their own rights individually amazing women fighting the good fight in the pro-democracy space. Together, when they pool their powers like Wonder Twins, Wonder Twins activate. They are the brilliant minds, the creative brilliant minds behind the Seneca Project, which has been producing, gosh, ladies, what is it? A couple of years now, right? That Seneca's been around, or is it a year?
Just 1 year.
Look at that. I feel like you guys are such a part of the establishment already. So for a year, they've been producing some of the most impactful content that we have seen frankly, in any of the political messaging space, in my opinion. So I want to say welcome to y'all. And I'm so glad we're able to hang out together here at Substack. So let's start with we're going to go to your second to your last for Seneca Project's video about Mr. Rogers. And that obviously deals with the killing of the funding of NPR, PBS, etc. Why, Michelle, why this angle? Why the Mr. Rogers angle? Is it because of his universal appeal? Is it because all of us grew up? Because there's a generation of people that obviously didn't grow up with Mr. Rogers.
Absolutely. I am an elder millennial. I have an older sister who's a Gen Xer. So PBS was on in our household all the time. We were big Sesame Street, Muppet people, Mr. Rogers. And it's funny because I didn't really plan to make this. It happened. And then all I could think about was that exchange between Fred Rogers and Senator Pastore back in 1969, and how, that makes its way into the, into the algorithm every now and then. We're reminded of that. And I was reminded specifically in that moment because of how carefully and how thoughtfully he communicated the importance of public broadcasting to children specifically, and to really the foundation and fabric of our country. And so, I went and pulled that clip and I watched it back and forth maybe 10 times. And I was like, I think there's some more here. I think there's an argument to be made. I think there's some context and a story to be told about how this happened, why it matters, and maybe what we can do about it. And maybe the questions we have to ask ourselves: what has happened to us? And what do we do with the mad that we feel? Which is what Mr. Rogers talks about in that exchange between him and the senator. And so I just, I started kind of piecing this together, and I saw a story to tell. I didn't really think much of it. And then I sent it to Tara. I was like, what do you think? And then she was like, oh, I love this. I love this. And it's really resonated with people because Mr. Rogers was the embodiment of kindness that we learned as children, how to treat each other at school, at home, our parents, our brothers and sisters. And that's why, I think our generation specifically, in Mad Men, there's a great quote that nostalgia, it's delicate but potent. And it's a powerful tool. And I think when you get to the heart of it, I think that a light bulb goes off and they realize, oh, wow, this is bigger than just politics. this is culture. These are the things I grew up on, and they're taking them away. And so, that angle was the most important to me. And honestly, sometimes I'm just like, if it makes me cry, if it makes me feel something, and our friend Julia Roginski said this so beautifully. She said, it's the sorrow. It's the sorrow of what we've lost. And so that's really where that came from, and it just kind of happened.
Blew up.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about what you just reminded people and what you just said, Michelle, and what the video does from the Seneca Project is these are programs for children. Like,
Mhm.
we as adults get a value out of NPR and PBS, right? But
Mhm.
there's something about providing a truly safe space for our children
Mhm.
to be able to go. And really, the politicization of it isn't happening on the Democrat side. It's
Mhm.
completely the Republicans that have made this some type of political kind of battle, when really it's the place where a lot of us went to learn, as you say, how to treat your neighbor,
Yeah.
learn the ABCs and the one, two, threes from Sesame Street, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these are the places where we went to see how to just be a part of a community, and the destruction of that sentiment is lying squarely at the feet of the Republicans. And so, Tara, my question for you is, I feel this just overwhelming sense of emotion when I hear Michelle talk about this, but then it kind of makes me wonder, but the Republicans have shown how heartless they are.
Mhm.
And so, does this resonate with the heartless Republicans that are watching this type of ad, and are they really understanding the message that's embedded within that video?
I think that there are certain concepts and principles that are nonpartisan, that it gets you, those feels will get you no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Republicans, maybe the normie Republicans who are probably not Republicans anymore necessarily, probably more independent like I became, because they're disgusted with the perversion of the Republican Party under MAGA. But there are still some that, are still hanging on, that don't necessarily like MAGA, but they don't like the Democrats, but they're not insane. Those people are the gettable voters. The MAGAs, it's a little bit of a different situation now. This Epstein thing, which we'll talk about in a minute, may be creating a crack here where some of these people are waking up going, oh my God, like, have we been lied to? Has it all been a lie? And of course, we're like, yes. But
Duh.
but right. But for videos like the PBS one, the same thing with American Girl, which is what we won our Webby Award for. And thank you again, Katie, for being the first person
Amazing.
to congratulate us for our Webby Award on air and giving us the opportunity to say thank you to all the people who voted for us and supported American Girl. And for us as a new women-led organization, it meant the world to win that award and to be recognized, and for so many people to for that the American Girl ad to resonate with them, how powerful it was. The PBS one has a similar emotional effect where it hits you here because the concepts, it doesn't matter who you voted for. You still feel a certain way about the innocence of Mr. Rogers or of Sesame Street and what it was like for our childhoods, and we yearn for that. Same thing with American Girl. Like, as women, we're proud of the progress that women have made, but women all across the aisle, no matter where you are, have experienced some of those barriers, some of those discriminating things, like some of the questions about your worth as a woman. Like, so when you take those things and you put them into messaging, storytelling is what moves people.
Mhm.
That's why it's so important. That's why we started Seneca Project. For us, we are a content organization. We are a pack that focuses on telling those stories, on bringing in powerful political narratives and going on offense. So we've got those heartfelt ones, and then we've got the killer ads where we're talking to people, telling them straight, and we don't ask permission from the establishment or the powers that be. We are real people. We're relatable. We're in the political moment, and we know how to talk to people. And we use our storytelling and content skills to do that because MAGA does it, and they've done it very well. And Republicans have done it very well. And it's time now to take that narrative back and go on offense. And that's why we do it.
And Michelle, that's exactly what you guys have done. I always
Mhm.
say, like, I just did a video on my YouTube channel today about French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron suing Candace Owens for a
Yeah.
22 counts of defamation in a
Good.
219-page lawsuit here in Delaware in the United States. That to treat a bully, sometimes you have to punch them back in the nose. And what you
Mhm.
guys have done at the Seneca Project has incredibly effectively done that with your latest video called Predator. So I guess we're going from PBS to Predator, PBS to pedophile now.
Oh
So
gosh, a lot of P
Michelle,
words.
talk
Right.
talk
The
about
word of the letter
Michelle.
of the day today is P.
P.
Because we could also
Um,
go to penis, which is another conversation.
which we'll probably get to vis-a-vis South Park. But Michelle, talk about why it was so critical to punch the GOP nonsense, the Trump nonsense, the DOJ nonsense in the nose with Predator, the video from the Seneca Project, and to
Mhm.
just repeatedly remind people that we are being gaslit by this DOJ and this administration into thinking that there was not a substantive, significant relationship between the sitting president of the United States and, according to his own DOJ, the worst pedophile in American history.
Yeah, Katie. I mean, I think there's a couple things here. Number one is that people have somehow forgotten Donald Trump's past, or they know about it and don't care. And for those who have forgotten about it, and unfortunately, in my opinion, I didn't think that the opposition was loud enough about this in the last cycle
Yep.
of reminding people, because what do we know about messaging? You have to repeat it over and over and over again for it to permeate, right? And so
We tried.
we tried, we tried to remind people of his ugly, disgusting past of being a predator. I mean, there are words in the lawsuit or divorce, I think, right, with Ivana, that he had assaulted her. The E. Jean Carroll case was going on. Um, but also in his own words. And I think that's the other important part of this is it can't be us saying it. We want to present to our audience or to the audience, he said this stuff. It's
Mhm.
him. So listen to his words. And these are the things that he has done and proudly stated publicly. And so sometimes I think when people maybe hopefully hear it packaged in that way and can create an arc of or a story presenting to them, hey, this is who Donald Trump is, you culture warriors. I mean, you come to us and say that we're starting culture wars. No, it's you, and apparently you're the ones that care about family and all of these values, but you've elected a predator, this man with 3 wives and how many children from how many, it goes on and on and on. And I think people just need to be reminded over
Yep.
and over and over and over again. And here we are 10 years later with the Epstein thing, and it's his own people. It's his own people now that have put the crack in this undercurrent of his past. It's wild.
Tara, I've been saying politics definitely makes strange bedfellows. This is now a weird space to be in, wherein we are in agreement with Megyn Kelly, right?
I
And people like that, where understandably their calls for transparency on this, they're coming from a different space, right? For them, they
Right.
think they're going to get some validation on the conspiracy theory that it's just Democrats that apparently are in the Epstein files, right? According to them.
Right.
But really, though, I share some small optimism that this creates like a little bit of a chip in that dam, of that wall of the dam, of that bubble that MAGA lives in, that bubble of ignorance, that maybe it
Mhm.
says knock knock knock, right? McFly, like
Yeah,
there
I was gonna say.
there is there is truth behind these files, and why not let it all out so that Americans can decide that. And then, of course, Tara, I want to get your thoughts on this. We have the Deputy Attorney General of the United States meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell today. He met with her this morning at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee. What is this telling you, though, that this issue is not going away?
There are so many dynamics to this that are just fascinating. I mean, for those of us who knew and who have been paying attention to all of this for so long, we're all like, no shit, right? Like all of this stuff, we're like, no shit, people. The fact that MAGA's own conspiracy theory is collapsing on itself and that that it's the Epstein thing that it's doing it is just it. I mean, I'm here for it, but at the same time, it's kind of like of all the things,
I know.
like,
This is what did it.
This is what's gonna do it. The thing about just really quick about Predator, we actually released that during the election, before the election was over, and we called it Protector because we were playing on Donald Trump gaslighting women that he was going to be their protector. He gave one of his rallies and was like, I am your protector. And we were like, oh, not no, but hell no. We need to remind people he is not a protector. We re-upped that ad because it was relevant. Who knew that that was going to be relevant again in the context of Epstein? And of course, Michelle was like, you know what? We need to name it Predator. And we're like, yes, because it fits, unfortunately, but it does. And so you guys voted for him. We didn't. And here's a reminder of what you voted for. Are you okay with that? So that's how Predator came about. And we're glad that our content is relevant and was able to be used again in a situation. We don't like what the situation is, but it just tells you that we were on top of things and still are. Now, this whole thing with Ghislaine Maxwell, I mean, it's so, and you know this, Katie, because you worked as a prosecutor, you're a lawyer. This stinks to high heavens. This woman is the worst of the worst. She was Epstein's right hand. She was recruiting these young girls, and she was in prison for 20 years for her role in all of this.
Yeah.
And she was convicted of perjury. So she's a liar on top of being a freaking pedophile, sex trafficking bitch. And now this administration is going to go and potentially either give her a commutation or let her out or whatever, because she's going to say whatever she needs to say. She's supposed to be in prison for 20 years. Yeah. These guys control whether she's her freedom or not. It doesn't matter if it's ethically okay. It doesn't matter if it goes against normal legal processes. These people don't give a damn. They do whatever they want. And so now Donald Trump thinks, because he's tried all these other distractions and nothing has worked, all it's done is made it worse. They think, okay, we're going to go to Ghislaine Maxwell. She's going to say whatever she needs to say to get out, and that's going to like squash this whole thing. Right. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. She's a liar. And all of this other stuff that's coming out, drip, 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 because Donald Trump didn't just rip the Band-Aid off months ago. It was Elon Musk who put it out there and dropped the mic and was like, yeah, by the way, when they were having their little Twitter bitch fight, oh, by the way, you're in the Epstein files, buddy.
That's right.
June 5th. Now we know, thanks to the intrepid reporting of the Wall Street Journal, that Trump knew. He was briefed back in May. Who else knew? Apparently Elon Musk knew, because he was like a barnacle to his ass following Trump around everywhere. So probably he knew. And he weaponized that against Trump. And then, it was like, sorry. But it was already out there. So this timeline of what's been going on since that first week in June, we are now in the third week of July, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle, think about it. CNN had some exclusive reporting yesterday that there was some new photos or whatever, the Wall Street Journal being sued for the birthday card. And then last night on MSNBC, Brad Edwards, one of the lawyers that represented several of the Epstein victims and survivors, said that that card is in existence in the estate of Jeffrey Epstein and can be subpoenaed from the estate to be turned over. Michelle, does it feel like there's a drip, drip, drip of information coming out, which would also maybe support the idea that, no, we don't need grand jury transcripts. We just actually need you to release the stuff properly redacted to be able to have people to make a decision as to who has culpability and who doesn't.
Right. I mean, first and foremost, we have to protect the victims and their privacy, obviously, to your point. The rest of it is just, like you said, they can subpoena that letter. That shouldn't be too hard. You would think at this point. But my theory is that Rupert Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal has a whole bunch of stories, and they are just dropping one and dropping another and dropping another, because Rupert Murdoch, he's no dummy. And I think he's saying, I dare you. I dare you. And so now he is, suing for what, $10 billion. I'm like, it might as well be trillion or whatever. And Rupert Murdoch, he's a newspaper man, and he's I'm sure careful when it comes to this stuff too. He's not going to allow the Wall Street Journal to print something like this without full legal and fully sourced. Like they're not going to do that. And I would hope that the more conservative readers that the Wall Street Journal has would be able to see that and say, there's some truth to this. There's some truth to this. Because, and here's another thing, and this is where my tinfoil hat comes on. Maybe not so tinfoily, but J.D. Vance flew to Montana 2 days before that first story broke for a private meeting with Rupert Murdoch. J.D. Vance is what, 40, 41 years old?
Yep.
He is owned by Peter Thiel, who gave him $15 million for his Senate campaign. J.D. Vance has a long history of having no morals and no belief system. He is newly Catholic. He is newly a Trump supporter. Who's to say that the talented Mr. Vance isn't making a play to take him out? And if I was Donald Trump, that's what I would be thinking about.
I mean, we may or may not have a video that we made called Heartbeat that we made right before the election.
I remember. We did that, and I have still pinned on that cesspool at X my video, which was the 25th Amendment, that advanced presidency is definitely a heartbeat away. I got you, lady.
Yep. And we may or may not be re-releasing that today to kind of poke the bear a little bit, to remind folks, particularly Donald Trump, that what's your vice president doing? He's over here canoodling with your enemy here. You're about to sue him. You don't like Murdoch. And we all know that the history has been very tumultuous with Fox News and the Murdochs. Even though Fox was instrumental in getting Trump elected, the Murdochs never really liked him. It was a business decision to keep going that way because initially, I remember back in 2015, they tried to discredit Donald Trump. They were not fans of his. And then when they saw where the base was going and their viewers were going, they were like, oh, shit, I guess we're going to have to go with this guy. And then they became the biggest mouthpieces. But then there was a reason why Chris Ruddy and those guys over at Newsmax started Newsmax and why OAN and all those other ones and the podcaster universe and Steve Bannon and all that created their own ecosystem here. It was to rival Fox because they always knew that there was a possibility that Fox may turn on Trump when they have the chance. And now, here we are again. Maybe now they're looking at, now they've got an heir apparent in their minds. So,
yeah. And Michelle, to your point, Fox News had to pay $787.5 million in the Dominion voting systems lawsuit for defamation. And so the Wall Street Journal is not going to be signing up again to have to pay a lot of money to Trump by running something that they haven't vetted properly, is the way I look at it from a lawyer's point of view.
And don't forget that there's still another lawsuit. Smartmatic is the other company like Dominion that's suing Fox for $2 billion, I think. And that is ongoing. That is still ongoing. So, Rupert's not going to engage in that kind of fight unless they know they've got the goods or they're ready for it. Or that they want to. They want to take it on.
So, Tara and Michelle, let people know. I mean, I've been a huge fan of the Seneca Project since inception. Let people know how they can actually support you guys more so than just following, because I'm a true believer that what you guys are doing is just not only prescient and just so timely, but it's incredibly powerful content. And I love that it's coming from incredibly smart women as well. And so let people know how they can support the Seneca Project.
Yeah, absolutely. And Katie, again, just to reiterate how grateful we are to you for always being so supportive of us. And, you were one of the first people that we told as we were getting ready to launch this. And your support has really meant the world to us, and your supporters and your viewers and have been also Seneca supporters. So we're so grateful. But for the new folks who are just discovering us, you can go to Seneca Project .us. We are a super PAC, so we run solely on the kindness and generosity of our small dollar donors. We are not affiliated with any other organization. We are our own independent organization. We started it with our own money. Michelle and I did just a little bit and have been able to do what we're doing on a really streamlined budget compared to some other organizations. And so in order for us to keep doing this, it has to come with people have to support us. And if there's folks out there that want to write us a 6-figure check, please, we welcome it. You will know that your money is being well spent with us, because we are not beholden to the establishment, which is something else that makes us unique.
Yes.
And there's a lot of issues with the establishment and being stubborn and set in their ways. And we're like I say all the time, we're like the Navy SEALs. We are precision message killers. We don't ask for permission from other people and focus group things. We have the mission. We know how to go in and deliver that. And that makes us uniquely positioned, especially in this moment, to bring the fight now. We've been preaching to the Democrats, to our friends, the fight is now. There is an urgency of now that some have not been able to grasp, and we're trying to fill that void. We just did another ad called Big Beautiful Betrayal, because J.D. Vance went to a swing district in Pennsylvania because Republicans understand how to go on offense. And I, as a former Republican communications person, understand the playbook. So we asked some of our Democratic friends, is anybody doing anything?
Yeah, are you guys doing anything?
Counter messaging this propaganda tour, and it was crickets. So we said, with our little budget, we'll do it ourselves and show you how to do this, and hopefully scale this up and replicate it, because all of us should be doing that. We have to have consistent messaging flooding the zone, particularly in swing districts, because these are the people that are being hurt by what Donald Trump and Republicans are doing with the big bullshit bill and everything else that's going on top of the distraction of what's happening with Epstein. I mean, that stuff matters, but everyday lives and people's everyday kitchen table issues matter. And what Donald Trump and Republicans have just done is going to hurt a lot of people, including MAGA. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Cancer doesn't care what your affiliation is. When you have an emergency, your rural hospital is gone because Donald Trump and Republicans cut Medicaid funding for your hospital, or your grandma or your mom is getting kicked out of her nursing home, or your sick kid with cancer who had a home aide that could help you doesn't have that anymore because they cut Medicaid. These are the stories that are true and real that we need to be telling people. Donald Trump betrayed you. And if he's lying about that, the Epstein thing, what else is he lying to you about? And get them thinking about that. So we appreciate everybody supporting us, senecaproject.us, or follow us at all of our socials. It's all the same. And Michelle, if you have something you want to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just to piggyback on Tara's point, that the messaging it can't stop. There's a lot of people seem to think that elections only begin maybe 6 or 8, 9 months before they occur, but the Republicans never take a day off, and we cannot either. And if you've seen that bubble chart of all of the voices on the left and the right, you've got Joe Rogan and you've got Benny Johnson, and we don't have a lot of blue dots, guys. And this is where we have to invest in the independent voices. Now, we're making content. We're trying to beat the drum constantly. People like Katie are out here as an independent, I don't answer to nobody, thank God. And these are the voices.
We don't either.
Right, and we don't either.
That's why we all get along.
And we're not waiting. We're not waiting for the Democrats to do the things that we need to be done. So we're just we're going to do it ourselves. And to speak to also the people who are being hurt here. Like Tara, we come from humble beginnings. I grew up in a middle-class family. My dad was the head of his union. He was a firefighter for 33 and a half years. I grew up in a very rural area of northern New York. People here are suffering. Now, they continue to vote for Elise Stefanik and Tenney, which I don't understand. But when shit is hitting the fan, we need to be there to tell them whose fault it is, because they are already out on the road and on the airwaves and in your phone every single day, telling you that everything is fine. Everything is not fine. And things are about to break in half. And they need to be told and reminded in their own words who is to blame.
That's right.
When they show up to the voting booth the next time, they know who to pull the lever for.
That's right.
And people can see the big, beautiful betrayal. We're already going to be looking out for even more amazing content from the Seneca Project. Folks, the more than 1,400 of you that are tuning in with us on a Thursday afternoon, I am grateful, as always, to be in this community with you. Grateful to Tara Setmayer and Michelle Kinney of the Seneca Project. Please go and show them the support that they deserve and that they need. Listen, as Michelle says, we cannot take a day off. And as Tara says, we will not ask for permission. We'll just ask for forgiveness a little bit later. And that's only after we win. So thank you, Tara and Michelle, for joining me. I'm so grateful. And thank you to all of you, all more than 1,500 of you that have joined us today. Grateful to all of you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
Bye, guys.